season 6 of The Flash is now over, and it ended rather abruptly because, nobody can really control these things that are happening right now. But the season was cut short, and there was still supposed to be like 3 more episodes, but episode 19 ended up being the finale because they didn't get any more filmed. So, because season 6 was cut short, and it didn't really end off the season that well, and like the story's still going, the showrunners or somebody involved with The Flash has revealed the synopsis for episode 1 of season 7. And usually we don't get the synopsis until like San Diego Comic-Con, but that's not even actually happening this year. I mean, there's an online version, but it's not going to be as good as the in-person one. So that's why we're getting it now, also to assure fans that, we're going to wrap up the storyline, and season 7 is going to be like really good. So yeah, here it is. After a thrilling cliffhanger last season, which saw the Mirror Master victorious and still at large in Central City, the Flash must regroup in order to stop her and find a way to make contact with his missing wife, Iris West Allen. With help from the rest of Team Flash, which includes superheroes Caitlin Snow, Cisco Ramon, Ralph Dibny, and Nash Wells, as well as the Flash's adoptive father, Joe West, Meta attorney Cecile Horton, tough cub reporter Allegra Garcia, and brilliant tech nerd Chester P. Runk. Flash will ultimately defeat Mirror Master, but in doing so, he'll also unleash an even more powerful and devastating threat on Central City, one that threatens to tear his team and his marriage apart. So what does this mean? A lot of it is kind of like stuff we can ignore, like just like, oh, they're going to team up with basically all of Team Flash, including Chester and Allegra, and Caitlin will be back and all that stuff. But I mean, like, that's all stuff we know. We know that Chester and Allegra have been bumped up to series regulars for season 7, so we knew that they would be returning. And Caitlin will be back because the reason she left the show in the finale for season 6 was because Danielle Panabaker was about to have a baby, but now she's had the baby, so by the time they start filming season 7, they should be all good to go, and she can come back and do that stuff. Now into the actual plot of the first episode of season 7. So the Mirror Master is going to get defeated. So first of all, I like that they're clearly calling Eva the Mirror Master, because like, we're pretty much just calling her Eva, and then when we thought of her as her supervillain name, it wasn't Mirror Master, it was usually like Mirror Mistress, Mirror Mastress, something like that, but no, it's just the Mirror Master. By the way, I really love her suit. But they just say it outright, she's gonna get defeated. I kind of wish they didn't do that, because like, it kind of spoils an episode. Like, they built up this character half a season, and then they're just like, oh yeah, the next episode she'll get defeated. But, it's fine, because, it was kind of obvious anyway, because these things happen all the time anyway. But then it says that when Barry defeats the Mirror Master, an even greater threat will be released that will threaten his team and his marriage. So, who's that new threat? Well, some things we have to think about here is, last time we saw Iris, she was still in the Mirrorverse, and she kind of like fractaled out of existence. So we don't know where she went or what's happening with her. But this new threat, because it's threatening his marriage, could possibly actually be Iris, because when he releases Iris from the Mirrorverse, maybe she's been affected so badly, similar to how Eva was, because Eva used to be, an amazing scientist before she went in the Mirrorverse, and then she went all cuckoo in there and got all these powers. So maybe now that Iris has been in there for like months, she's got these powers, and maybe she's starting to go a little crazy, a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So that would definitely be something that would tear his marriage apart if he has to battle his own wife. That would be really crazy. Now, I don't know how likely this is. I'm just putting it out there because it is definitely a possibility. But I don't think they would really make Iris like a main villain of a season. Maybe for like an episode or something, but I don't know. But one other thing we know about season 7, or at least how season 6 was going to end and lead into season 7, is that the original cliffhanger that season 6 was supposed to end on was a Reverse Flash cliffhanger. Now, from what we know about that cliffhanger, according to showrunner Eric Wallace, he said that it would make Reverse Flash fans giggle, like, in excitement and joy and basically everything like that. So, what does this mean? Well, a big theory that's going around right now, since we know that Red Death is probably coming to the show at some point because he was name-dropped in Season 5, that maybe this would be a Reverse Flash Red Death teaser to set up for Season 7, and it would be basically a mixture of the Reverse Flash and Bloodwork, because right now Eobard Thawne is looking for a body that he can basically take over. And Bloodwork is in Argus, and when he had the chance to escape, he didn't because he said he was playing the long game. So what is this long game? I don't know. Maybe he knows that there's a plan where Eobard Thawne is going to take over his body, and then they will become together Red Death. Plus, when the evil Irish reflection clone thing took the blood from Bloodwork, and then she put her on the mirror to let Eva escape, there was still a little bit left in that vial when she threw it off to the side. So there's a little bit of Bloodwork's blood out there in the world right now. And the Reverse Flash could easily get a hold of that, and then that is exactly how Red Death could be born, because I highly doubt we're getting a Flash Batman merge character on the CW, especially when there is no Batman currently. I mean, first of all, the character left 5 years ago, I think it was. Yeah. So I think this is definitely a good idea, but there are some other things that could be happening here. Something that could tear Barry and Iris's marriage apart. Someone that we've seen on the show before. A character returning who, when Barry and Iris see them, this would be their exact reaction right here, because they would be like, "Aren't you supposed to be dead? How are you alive?" Eddie Thawne, Cobalt Blue. So first of all, if you don't know who Cobalt Blue is, basically in the comics, it's like he's a relative of Eobard Thawne, but he's also like Barry's brother or something like that. I don't know. It's some kind of complicated thing, but basically he wants revenge on Barry for something, and they could easily do this with Eddie because, as you probably know, in Season 1, the finale, Eddie sacrificed himself to save the day because he knew that he was an ancestor of Eobard Thawne. So if he died, then the Reverse Flash would have never been born. So he sacrificed himself, but now if he comes back to life, he may be a bit angry about that. And maybe he'll now have powers somehow. I don't know how, but he could have powers. And another great thing about Cobalt Blue is that I think his power is that he can steal powers, basically. So that way you could have him steal the Flash's speed, and then you could get that, or copy powers, and then you could get those great speedster battles that we haven't had for the past couple seasons, because we haven't had speedster villains other than Godspeed, but that's only for filler episodes. So I think this would be a great idea to throw in Cobalt Blue here, because this has been a long-going theory here. Everybody's been wanting Cobalt Blue on the show, and I mean, it's just perfect timing too. Iris has been trapped in that Mirrorverse. She's been away from Barry for so long. Maybe if she sees Eddie, that relationship, that spark, and that love will rekindle there, especially because she hasn't been with Barry in such a long time. Maybe she'll meet up with Eddie before she sees Barry when she gets out of the Mirrorverse. This is just some crazy stuff that could be happening here. And I don't really know if it's going to happen, but I think it should. So, what do you guys think about this? Who do you want the main villain of season 7 to be? Or do you want it to be a half and half season like we had this season? Like, first half Bloodwork, second half Mirror Master? I mean, I think that's actually probably what they're going to do, because Eric Wallace, the showrunner, really liked this formula that they went with this season, and I think he said he wanted to try it again for the future. So yeah, I think we're getting half and half seasons, but we'll have to wait and see until we find out more information about this. Yeah, so like I said, let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to hit the like button and smash that subscribe button so that I can keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the DC life.